Before the pyramids touched the sky, before kings wore crowns of gold, a river flowed, the Nile. It was not just water, it was rhythm, it was memory, it was life. The Nile didn't just feed the land, it shaped a people and gave birth to one of history's greatest civilizations. Over 7,000 years ago, people settled the banks of the Nile. They were farmers, fishermen, mothers, children. They grew barley, herded cattle, and watched the river rise and fall like a divine calendar. This was the beginning of Egyptian life. For centuries, these settlements dotted the landscape, each one a small world of mud-brick homes and bustling marketplaces. But as the sun rose over the eastern hills, a revolution was stirring, a revolution without swords or shields. It was a revolution of the mind. Slowly, the scattered settlements along the Nile transformed into something greater. Humans who once wandered in search of food and shelter now paused. They stayed put and started building. Small villages gave way to larger towns, each with its own story to tell. At Fayum, where life began, we find the earliest traces of this change. People crafted tools out of stone. They developed beautiful pottery, each piece a silent storyteller from a bygone era. Some of these vessels bear simple geometric patterns, while others show us animals that shared their world. There are even hints of scenes from daily life, reminding us that even in those ancient days, life wasn't just about survival, it was also about expression. Meanwhile, further south near Merimda, another story unfolded. Here, houses grew sturdier, almost like they were preparing for something grander. These weren't just homes, they were stepping stones toward civilization. And as the people here delved deeper into farming, their lives became more than just planting and harvesting. They found time to bury their dead with respect, placing them in graves and surrounding them with cherished possessions. This was a belief that life wasn't ending, it was transforming. They even left behind toys and utensils for their dead loved ones, hoping they would need them on their journey. These early Egyptians had dreams, hopes and fears. They loved and lost. And all of this they did along the banks of the Nile, a silent witness to their lives. But it wasn't just about what they left behind. What they took with them was equally fascinating. Amulets and figurines of protective deities were commonly buried with the dead, suggesting a deep connection to the spiritual realm. These objects whispered tales of an afterlife, a place where the soul's journey didn't end, but merely shifted. As we explore these ancient sites, it's as if we're reading the first pages of an epic story. The characters might be long gone, but their story still echoes. It's a tale of transformation, of a society that dared to dream beyond the horizon, beyond the endless sands of the desert. These settlements were the first chapters of Egyptian history, setting the stage for what would come next. As the river flowed, carrying life-giving water to the fields and stories to the people, it also carried the seeds of a great awakening. Around the same time, across the Nile Delta, another cultural group known as the Maadi people were making their mark on the world. Their time along the Nile had taught them skills, resilience, and a deep respect for the natural world. With each passing season, their settlements grew, becoming hubs of trade and cultural exchange. As we dig deeper into the archaeological record, we find more than just remnants of homes and workshops. We uncover clues to their beliefs. In the Median culture, there's a recurrent motif, the human head emerging from a lotus flower. This symbol suggests rebirth, echoing the annual flooding of the Nile that brought life to the land. It's a testament to how deeply the Egyptians were connected to the rhythms of the river. Their journey was a reflection of their environment, shaped by the Nile's floods and blessed by its bounty. The Maadi people weren't just survivors, they were storytellers, leaving behind symbols and artifacts that continue to intrigue us today. Further down the Nile in southern Egypt, another vibrant culture, the Naqada people were leaving their own indelible mark. The Naqada culture was a melting pot of ideas and traditions from the north and the south. The result was a society that was not only thriving but innovating. Here, animal motifs took on new meanings. The bull, often seen as a symbol of strength, was depicted with a royal beard, hinting at connections to the pharaohs of the north. Meanwhile, graceful ibises and baboons frolicked on tombs, suggesting a belief in the deceased's ability to soar into the afterlife with ease. During this time, the power of the written word was also realized. Hieroglyphics, once used primarily for record-keeping, evolved into a tool for storytelling, adorning tombs and temples with tales of gods and pharaohs. These weren't just markings on stone. They were the first steps towards a literary tradition that would span millennia. What makes the Naqada culture so remarkable is how they combined practicality with artistry. Their tools were efficient and elegant, reflecting a society that valued both function and form. They understood the power of symbolism, using it to connect with the divine, honor the dead, and express their worldview. Each of these cultures, the Maadians, the Naqadas, and the Badarian, contributed to the rich tapestry of Egyptian civilization. They traded with each other, sharing ideas and resources that spurred further innovation. The Nile, with its life-giving waters, served as the artery through which these cultures thrived. But it wasn't just about prosperity, it was about unity. The various settlements along the Nile were coming together, forming a collective identity that transcended individual villages. They recognized the strength in unity, understanding that together they could achieve something greater than they could separately. From the fertile lands of the Delta to the majestic cataracts further south, a common thread was weaving its way through the hearts and minds of the people, the thread of shared destiny along the banks of the Nile. As the sun set over the western desert, casting long shadows over the land, a new era was dawning. The spirit of adventure had taken hold. People were no longer content with just surviving. They were ready to thrive. They ventured into uncharted territories, pushing the boundaries of their world. They explored the vast desert, discovering hidden oases teeming with life. They sailed across the Red Sea, connecting with distant lands and bringing back exotic goods and ideas. This spirit of exploration led to encounters with other cultures, some peaceful, some fraught with challenges. Yet through it all, the Egyptians held firm to their traditions, adapting and evolving, but never forgetting their roots. The Nile remained their lifeline, guiding their ships and nourishing their dreams. Along its banks, grand temples rose to touch the heavens, each one a testament to the growing wealth and sophistication of Egyptian society. Within these temples, pharaohs were deified, their images carved in stone and placed beside those of the gods. It was a subtle shift in perception, but a significant one. The line between ruler and deity was blurring, setting the stage for a new concept to emerge, the pharaoh as a god on earth. Amidst the grandeur of the temples, a new class of scribes emerged, individuals who could read and write hieroglyphics, recording the deeds of the pharaohs and keeping the records of the kingdom. Their pens became the instruments of power, shaping the narrative of the age. Meanwhile, in the bustling cities, artisans were creating works of art that would capture the essence of Egyptian life. From delicate jewelry to monumental statues, their creations adorned the homes of the wealthy and the temples of the gods. Yet it was in the realm of the afterlife that the greatest innovations flourished. The Egyptians' fascination with the journey to the afterlife led to the construction of magnificent tombs, each one a microcosm of the pharaoh's earthly kingdom. Within these tombs, treasures were laid to rest, not just for the pharaoh, but for all members of the royal court. It was a display of wealth on a grand scale, meant to sustain the pharaoh in their journey to the afterlife. The spirit of innovation wasn't confined to the elite. Commoners, too, were making advancements. Farmers devised new techniques to maximize their yields. Merchants established trading routes that spanned the known world, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its final rays over the Nile, the spirit of progress seemed boundless. The Egyptians looked to the stars, charting constellations and predicting the rising of the Nile. In their quest for knowledge, they didn't just observe, they participated. Festivals became occasions to celebrate life, death, and everything in between. Music filled the streets, dancing echoed in the temples, and the stories of gods and pharaohs were retold, ensuring that the past lived on in the present. The story of ancient Egypt was far from a static one. It was a saga of evolution, of a civilization that didn't shy away from change, but embraced it, adapting and innovating. From the earliest settlements along the Nile to the emergence of pharaohs, the Egyptians' journey was marked by cultural exchange, exploration, and a relentless pursuit of understanding their world. The Nile, with its life-giving waters, had been the cradle of this journey, nurturing a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on history. But as the sands of time shifted, the course of Egyptian history was about to change dramatically. A new kingdom was rising in the north, one that would challenge the very foundations of Egyptian society. In the next episode, we'll explore the dawn of a new era, when Upper and Lower Egypt united under one crown. Join us as we delve deeper into the story of ancient Egypt and discover the secrets that made it one of the most enduring civilizations in history. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Can't wait to see you in the next episode.